Hey fam, I was over here on Facebook and was checking out Quantum's page over here, and he had this interesting post here that was by Richard Sam Grayson. But it's this person in the medical profession that is talking about these fibers in the mask. And there's been a lot of talk going on about these masks and these fibers and everything. And I haven't really looked into too much of anything, but I was listening to a bit of this, and I thought more of us need to be aware of these little fiber things going on. So let's take a listen.
Hi, welcome back to Not on a Beeb, and tonight I've got a guest that you might just happen to recognise. Now, everyone's going to wonder, why would you have a guest on twice in a row? And there's a reason behind this, as you'll see to where we're going. But Dr. T, as everyone's calling you after yesterday's video, for all the people that didn't see it, could you tell us a bit about your career and a bit about your background?
So I went to medical school in the very, very early 90s, and then trained and did a series of hospital jobs, and then also did actually anatomy as well as an extra, so I taught anatomy to medical students, so I was particularly interested in that, and various different hospital jobs, and then I was a GP for many years. And then taught medical students for about 10 years on top of that as well. So right. That's my kind of general background.
And you've also worked in accidents and emergency?
Yeah, that was one of my jobs. Yeah, and ear, nose and throat. So yeah, quite a broad background, as many doctors have before they end up in their final job. We often do quite a lot of different hospital jobs along the way. Yeah.
Yeah, broad training. Right, so let's get to the beginning of the story. Can you just tell us how it started? Because I think you saw something on the internet. You saw some videos which made you curious. So just start us from the beginning and take your time to tell us.
So I have a teenage child, and they're quite good at finding videos and stuff on the internet. And basically, we ended up watching together a video showing some face masks being looked at, and I think they were called, the person that did the video was calling them nanoworms, but basically these black worms wriggling in masks. And we ended up watching in particular one man who there was something about him where I just really felt that whatever this was, he felt genuine to me, that he was genuinely discovering what he was discovering. So I just didn't get any sense of...
Okay, now, I'm not going to ignore that this doctor here on the side looks like a strong man. So I'm just going to have to say that because I'm not blind. So I'm going to say that, but the information about these fibers we should pay attention to, because I have no idea about what's going on with these little fibers, but I've been hearing little things, but we're not going to be sitting here like we're not aware and to see things. So I'm just going to have to say that.
Of being led astray or someone trying to misinform me, but it was quite low quality, the video, but you could see the kind of shock with what he was finding. And
which is, if I could just stop you 1 second there, if we just describe it for people who don't know what we're talking about, can you just describe precisely what he was finding on what?
Okay, so basically on the ordinary medical or surgical face masks, the single-use face masks, they were basically finding, when you look at those fibers under a microscope of some kind, that there were black what looked at first to be black fibres, but they weren't, amongst all the white fibres. And they looked still at first, but different people, depending on how they were doing it, from either blowing their warm, wet breath onto the mask, or sometimes from stretching the mask over steamy water or things like this, these then thread-like forms were then moving and appeared very much that they were alive. But these were all quite poor quality videos, and I have to say I've now got some insight into why that happens. It's not the easiest thing, but I don't know, it went straight to my stomach, and I thought, yeah, please can this not be so? And I couldn't ignore it. I couldn't look the other way. And so my son and I together just went, wait a minute, haven't we got tucked away somewhere that really useless, rubbishy microscope that you've got given as a present? And we just got it out. And
just a fun to see if you could replicate what you'd seen on the YouTube video.
I don't know. I guess for me, there was always there wasn't a kind of fun aspect to it. For me, it was, let's hope this isn't the case. Because I don't know, I guess as a medic, I'm already, rather than thinking that's a live squiggly, nanoworm or whatever, I'm thinking differential diagnosis. I'm kind of going through, okay, what different kind of worms could there be? What diseases have I learnt about during my career that are caused by worms? So for me, there's a real seriousness right from the beginning. And then I'm thinking, please, can this not be widespread? Maybe this is just a freak thing, a couple of contaminations or something. Maybe it got contaminated while it was sitting around in his house, or, So I thought there was something real about it, but I also really hoped that I wasn't going to see anything. And I put the mask under and straight away found lots of them. And then on that first look, one of them did a really massive movement and actually went from being completely sort of a very straightish linear form into sort of curling like that. And it was just no messing. So bigger than any of those movements that we've seen. There was just no mistaking it. There's no electrostatic or sudden breeze of air or something that could just have done that movement. And I'm not going to repeat what was said around the house actually at that point, because actually it involved a lot of very, very deep and horrifying emotions, really. And we both kept looking together and kept swearing a lot, if we're honest. And yeah, just couldn't take it on board, really.
Right, at this point, let me just jump in to show, because I've cut together some of the videos, because just to give my background to it, I'd seen the videos as well, and I'd taken a bit more of a superficial look at it. I just pulled up a mask, I couldn't see anything. I tried using some different alcohols on, which people had shown, but I couldn't actually see anything moving. It was always, for me, was like, is this like an internet hoax? So for one of the ones I remember with mobile phones was people putting mobile phones and then with popcorn, and it looked like the popcorn was bursting. So I've seen those, and it's like, well, is this a hoax? Is this a conspiracy theory or something? So I was very much 50-50, which is why I was absolutely fascinated when we made contact to hear that you'd taken it a step further to find things out yourself. But just to show, for all the people who've not seen what we're talking about, these black fibres within blue face masks, the surgical masks, let's just have a look at this little video, this little compilation of ones I just pulled off the internet, and members of Not on the Beeb managed to send me the other day. So thanks to everybody who sent me these to make the compilation from. Let's have a look. there we go. I mean, that they look like worms to me. They've got the movement of worms. They've got that little kind of way that even kind of earthworms will flick and move around in their body. The worms we see the most, and the other fibers.
That was absolutely horrifying. That's what's going on with the mask. Can you imagine that's going on with the mask? And our children are wearing these masks all day long. And our family members are wearing these masks all day long. And how many of us put on a mask at any time or been around them? And what if this is spread everywhere? How many people are making these videos, and how many people are unaware of this stuff? I had no idea. I mean, like, I seen a clip here, and of course, Bamley's been on it, but no big, nothing is going on about it, How long has this been going on?
Fibers are not moving. And these videos, just to point out, I took all the voices off them, but there's some with American voices, there's some with German voices, there's Eastern European. Yeah. These have been spotted all around the world.
Yeah.
And they're not.
And that's one of the things that really disturbed me as well, because once I started looking and finding different ones, it seemed to be a global thing. And we're in a global situation at the moment, and global increased wearing of masks around the world, and that really, really bothered me. The seriousness of, if there was something wrong with these masks, that this was potentially something that could be on a global scale. So, like I say, yeah, for me, it was never just curiosity for me. There was always an aspect of, please let this not be so, But basically, after I found what I found with my son, I just thought, why is nobody else looking at this? Why are these all, lay people, basically, where are the medics? Where are the microbiologists? Why is no one looking at these masks? Because a lot of these videos seems to be around for a good few weeks, and when you really start to search for them, maybe a month or more. I hadn't seen them myself a couple of months ago, but I think they were starting to come out at that stage. And I just thought, who's going to look at them? And I just thought, I'm going to have to do it. So I went on the internet and spoke to somebody from a very good microscope company and tried to get specialist advice about a microscope to look through fabrics, and ordered it, and then had a really awful time waiting because they were on COVID restrictions. The correct person for this particular specialist microscope setup couldn't get it to get delivered to me. The delivery was within 24 hours, but couldn't get it set up for another 4 or 5 days. So then when that microscope came, which was at the level that I'm so old, it's better than the microscopes that I used to use in medical school, really good quality. And then the problem was that the microscope was better than me. So I bought the microscope in order to put the camera on it and be able to both look for myself, but also to get information that I could then share and, whistleblow if I need to, or flag it up. And basically we then ended up in a process where the microscope came quite late in the day and started looking at the mask. So we thought, we've got to do this as technically and as good as we can, whilst being really, really clear that I am not a microbiologist and my home is not a lab. But what's the best that I can do in this situation to make it as certain as possible? So my husband brought back 5 different sealed boxes of NHS face masks. So 4 types of the classic blue and white surgical masks and 1 FFP3, and all of those boxes were completely sealed. And then when we did the experiment, you open them up, so you go through first the cardboard layer, and then inside that they were completely sealed plastic packet as well. And like for the FFP3, each individual mask is sealed up.
Yeah, and your husband's a doctor, isn't he? So
A dentist.
Oh, he's a dentist, okay.
Yeah. So when we then started the experiment, so I'd got gloves on, had got a clean table, not the one we eat dinner off, and set up as best we could, set up a table that we were going to mark down what we saw. And the very first mask under this crispy clear microscope was absolutely loaded with them, and just felt really sick. This is me just getting from a random dental practice on the NHS. In fact, it's not random, it's a really, really good dental practice. He doesn't own it, so I can say that. Very, very clean, very good hygiene standards, top ratings and everything. So unopened boxes, and the first one I open and it's covered in stuff. And the first one, before I'd even done any of the breathing or the steaming business, which seems to activate these worms, I thought I'd already saw it moving, the end of one of them. So then search around, try and take some photos, try and get it. I think probably because I had to take my glasses off to look down it, but the camera was then supposed to match that. Anyway, there was a slight mismatch, so that's why my quality is not as great as it was, because I'd have to put my visual thing slightly out of focus to make it right for the camera. Right. So as I was saying, I really have great sympathy for the quality of these films now. So started trying to document what was happening, and I'm still struggling with this. 5 out of 5 completely different brands. These weren't even the same brand. I'm sure a lot of NHS places will relate to this, but PPE has come in different kind of batches and come from all over the place for the NHS. But 5 different brands, and every brand had the worms in it. Every single one. Now, within that, my original idea was that I was going to do 5 masks of each brand. In the end, I ended up only doing 7 masks in total. So I had done a couple. So I did 2 of the FFP3, both contaminated. I did 2 of one of the other masks, and one of them, I think, possibly wasn't contaminated, but I was so tired and working in the dark at that point that I may well have missed it, and I didn't go back and double check that.
Can I just ask, can you explain what the difference is between those 2 different types of masks that you mentioned?
Okay, so these are all for, in this case, a dental practice, but would be the same in an NHS practice. So these are the masks that...
Okay, so since this one took the time out to move the hair, I did notice how long we was getting the one eye symboled out. I did notice that.
Standard ones that are kind of quite rectangular and kind of bag out a little bit, okay? So these would be used by the dental staff, the reception staff, and also the children and the adults that come in for their treatment.
And what is the other type of mask that begins with that?
Everybody is wearing these masks, in other words. You going to the dentist, you getting a mask to put on. You know what I'm saying? You can't get in the store now if you're not wearing your mask. You get your vaccine, you still wearing your mask. Breaking news, now you don't have to wear your mask in certain places, in certain stuff, depending on what the law is or government or mandate is in that state or town or whatever. In other words, everybody is in contact with these masks. And then the people that's working, that are wearing these masks all the time, the children are wearing these masks all the time.
Of F, you said.
And the FFP3 is supposed to be the higher grade kind of respirator, they even call it,
Okay.
which is kind of more like that shape. And like I say, it's graded higher than that. And they were both contaminated. So all 5 brands contaminated. Sealed boxes, just a standard NHS practice. So
Wow.
I've kind of done the odds on this and going, there is no way that coincidence could make all 5 of those contaminated unless there is widespread contamination. So that's why I'm here. I'm just an ordinary person who's, yes, I've got a medical degree, but I'm not a microbiologist, but there's no other medics speaking out about this. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just because they're busy and they don't end up seeing these weird videos on the internet, so they don't even know there's a problem. But I've not seen any medics coming forward about this, and I just feel that I've got to say this, but I think for the true meaning of the precautionary principle, which has been misused, I think, over this last year, for the even 1% chance that what I've seen is widespread, we have got to absolutely call to action. Everybody who has access to a microscope, a proper microscope in a lab, needs to look at masks. Everybody who knows somebody who works in a lab needs to tell them. And I want to be wrong. I know I'm not wrong that they're alive, what I've seen, but what I mean is I want to be wrong that it's widespread. I want this to be the most incredible, rare statistic ever that just me and these other people around the world were unlucky, and that this is not what it appears to be. But we cannot just presume. I know everyone watching this, they don't know who I am. They don't know, like you say, so much stuff on the internet. Is this fake? What is it? Just keep the possibility. If this is real, this is so serious.
And that's why I'm sharing this video, because if this is real, people are seeing these little fibers all over the place. Everybody can get a mask, and like this person said, if you can get a microscope, magnifying glass, I don't know, whatever you can get, check it out for yourself. You can't trust these wicked things. They lied about the vaccine being the cure, and we know that has nanobots in it, and we don't know what else they're unleashing on humanity. In these times, we need to be cautious. We need to be careful. We need to be alert. And we need to stay away from the vaccinated. We need to stay away from these masks. We need to stay away from everything that they're giving us during this time and telling us it's protecting us and saving us. That's my opinion on it. So let's be careful out here. Let's check these masks. And I just keep thinking, our children are wearing these masks all the time. Some wicked, wicked things we sharing earth with. Y'all be safe out here. I love you.